Thank you for having me. First things first, I have brought cups, sleeves, and lids. So if you didn't bring your cup, you can go and grab some coffee. And these are completely compostable. So they're not plastic, even though they look plastic. And there's a white bin with a green little baggie in there. And everything, once you're done, just goes right in the bin. And I will take that home with me. So I see some of you already have them. So it's just so you know what goes in what bin. But anyway, yeah, I am Yvonne. I am co-owner with my husband of Better Earth Logistics. And I've just been asked to speak about how we got started, because we have a little bit of a different journey of how we got to where we're at today. This first picture is just our region of where we service. So you can see we started in Peoria and just where we're growing. So we're not just in Peoria, we're servicing Greater Peoria and moved into Bloomington Normal. So most folk actually don't know, but we have a compost facility right here in Peoria that has been here since 1998. It's right by the airport in Peoria, and my in-laws own that. So they had that compost facility. My husband's been involved in it since he was a kid, and we ended up getting married. We traveled for his military training, and we came back to Peoria, and we were here. We had our first little boy, and honestly, we didn't love Peoria. That's just where we're at. We didn't love it. But we realized that if we're going to complain about it, we got to do something about it to fix it. So that's when our first business was born right here in Peoria, because Better Earth Compost had a need for a hauler. Now, I grew up as a dance instructor, and my husband's a pilot. So now we were deciding to go into trucking. So you can see where the link is there, nowhere. But we knew we wanted to do something better, and we wanted to help out the family. And I had my own business since I was 8, so I was itching to get back into things and actually do something that I love. So I've got a little video that just shows you, it's a 30-second video, start to finish, of us with the trucking to the compost, so you can see the big picture of what we actually do. The video shows you can see it online. It's from us driving with this little truck, picking up compostable products, and then we take it to the compost facility. And if you look online and watch the video, you'll see just how large the facility is. It's an industrial compost facility. So my father-in-law needed somebody to haul part-time for one of his customers. And that's where we started. We started with one customer, 24/7 for one season, and it was rough. We were not doing what we set out to do. We were not enjoying where we were living, because between deployments and my husband trucking and having now 2 kids, we were busy. And busy is fine as long as you're happy. And it was a lot. So we did that for probably 2 or 3 years, and then we actually lost that contract. It happens, and it was a big contract, and that was a big hit. So we decided to switch gears. Because change is okay, and change at first was scary, but we switched gears, and this in the year is where we got to. We started servicing one business in Peoria, and so yeah, this top corner is how we started. How we said we would never do business. Oh, that's better. In a trailer that we already had that we used to move ourselves with the military, and I call these wheelie bins. So these totes, these 64 and 96 gallon containers, and we literally would clean them out, put them in the trailer, drive to our customer, switch out the bins, and take the bins to the compost and dump it. Well, that was a lot of work, but it was a start. It was where we were at. We slowly started picking up some businesses, and we joined forces with Peoria and Tazewell County. So they have sustainability sections, and we joined up with them and started adding more customers, which enabled us to purchase this little truck here, which actually it's small enough to fit in a regular parking space. We have taken it to meetings and parked it in a normal parking space and gone into the meeting. So it's little, it's compact, but you can see we started having a problem with this one because of the size. We were filling up too fast because we were growing faster than we expected. And September 1st, we actually started servicing in Bloomington Normal because we were asked by Midwest Fiber if we would buy their compost route and take over their customers. So all of a sudden now, we purchased this box from them, which you can see is a lot bigger. It's a beast of a truck. And we were able to fit 3 bins at one time, so it's able to tip 3 bins at one time instead of the one that this is able to do. So we have grown and we're servicing around 60 commercial facilities in Greater Peoria now, between here and Bloomington Normal. So we then started getting questions about, well, I'm a resident, I want to compost, I live in an apartment, or I don't have time to do my own compost bin. It takes a lot of work. So we started thinking, how can we do this in Peoria? What works here for us? Because what works in other countries, like where I'm from, everybody has a bin, they have 4 different bins, and you separate everything, and that's how it works. And they're told to do it, and they do it. Here, we need to figure out what worked for Peoria. So we set up at, I've got a picture in the next slide, at the Riverfront Market. I don't know if some of you go down there. And we, first week, we literally just showed up, and I partnered with Jessica McGee, who does a lot of recycling. She makes some great art out of trash. And I stood there and I was trying to tell people, hey, you want to learn about composting? And people were like walking this way away from me like, oh, yeah, okay. So the next week we got a table, we got a tent, and I started asking people if they would like a free bag, because we were giving out free compostable baggies, and everybody loves free. So I started getting more people to talk to me. We started posting online what we were doing, and we started giving out compostable bags and telling people, go home, collect your food waste, bring it back to us next week. And they did it. I didn't think they would, but they did it. So each week at the Riverfront Market, we would fill up a 96-gallon container of food waste from people bringing it to us. So now we thought, okay, the market's going to end, what do we do? And this is when our little buckets came into play. So we started talking with Jessica's husband about building this kiosk. We started designing and looking at, well, what does a kiosk look like for here in Peoria? And we ended up building this kiosk, which is just down the road at Sous Chef, and it's solar powered, which we're tweaking a little bit. You know, you always have problems with your first couple of weeks. And you see your solar panel back here, and you tap the key card and the bin opens and you place your compostable bags in there. I am so excited to finally introduce to you our compost kiosk that is down at Sous Chef. You simply sign up online at betterearthlogistics.com or come down to Sous Chef and pick up your ready-made buckets. Inside your buckets, you will get your key card, which gives you 24/7 access to the kiosk down here, what can be composted, and liners. Now your liners are compostable, so all you do is pop your food scraps in here, bring them in your bucket, tap the key card to the keypad, and it opens up. All that we ask is you close it after you're done, because we don't want you meeting a little raccoon the next time you come visit us. So why don't we start reducing our waste together? And we've made it simple with our kiosk at betterearthlogistics.com. So we have people signing up for the subscriptions. Our first week, again, we didn't expect it. We sold out of everything we had, and we had to place a new order for compostable liners, which is a great problem to have. But I felt like, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have any. So now we fulfilled all our orders, and now we're looking at ways to get reusable buckets from other companies that maybe just dispose of them and use them one time. The last batch that went to Sous Chef, they were actually popcorn buckets that we had purchased from the market from a local popcorn guy. They had been taken to the Air Force Base for the guys to make popcorn out there. We took them back, cleaned them out, and now they are being used as subscription buckets for residential compost. So it works really well. People in their buckets get their liners, they get what can be composted in their little key card, and they now get 24/7 access to bring it down here. So this is how we've changed and how we've grown in a year, from just servicing one business that wasn't doing what we're doing to now actually being in the community and actually seeing a difference. And we have pictures of just how much waste we are diverting. If you want to know numbers, talk to my husband, he's a numbers guy. But the next step for how we grow is practical education. So this was us down at the riverfront. And we do believe the most effective way to teach people how to reduce their food waste is to give them an opportunity to do it. And that's what we did at the riverfront, and we did it for free. because we wanted people to learn. We also wanted people to reduce their waste. One of our companies, one of the hotels in East Peoria, when we started servicing them, we would pick up probably about 10 96-gallon containers of food waste, just of food waste, and we pick that up twice a week. All of a sudden we got a message saying, why are we spending so much on just food waste? And we said, because that's how much you're throwing away. And a lot of it was wonderful food. It looked totally fine. So the manager said, no, we're not doing this. And now they have cut their waste in half. So not only have they cut their waste in half, they've cut their spending on what they're buying, and they've cut their prepping. So they're saving money all round. And because they joined forces with Taswell and their sustainability program, they were able to help them out financially. So when they started at the beginning of us servicing them, they had half of a bill to pay because Taswell County picked up the other half. Now they're still paying that. That money has gone. That initiative has stopped for them because they've been in the 6 months. So now they're still paying the same amount because they've managed to reduce their waste, and we're picking up 5 instead of 10, which is awesome. And that is our goal. We'd love to be out of business, but there's always going to be food waste. But doing this all the time is not going to work for a business to grow efficiently. So one of the things that we're going to do next year, and there is a video, but it's probably not going to play, so I won't switch it, is work with Raphael and do some educational videos. So on our Facebook page and website, there's a video that he did that talks about how let's see if I can go back, how this kiosk works. And it's a minute, and it's quick and easy to the point. So as we grow, we're wanting to do more videos because we need to educate about what is compost, because that's the biggest thing people ask. What is compost? What's the difference with recycling and biodegradable? So these are all the things that we need to get out in the community in order to keep growing, and hopefully by next year we will expand and see even more schools and restaurants composting with us. So that's our story about where we got to where we are today in a little nutshell. So I'm here for questions. Yeah.
You say where you're from, they do composting, so where are you from?
Scotland.
I mean, I know, but.
You know that.
So do they actually have 4 bins and everybody?
Yes, they actually have.
Automatically does it?
Yes.
Okay, I've got friends from different countries and they're big on that because they don't understand why we don't do it here.
Yes, exactly. We've been to certain meetings and I have had people tell me, we can't tell people what to do. And I'm like, I get that, it happens. But sometimes you just have to tell them, this is what's best, change is okay. And if you give them the tools to be able to do it, then the right people start taking it and doing it. Yeah.
The four bins in Scotland, or someday here, what type of material goes into each?
So you have your trash, and your trash only gets picked up twice a month. Okay. And then you will have your compostable stuff. So you have your yard waste, and then you have your bags, you'll put in bags for your food waste, so they keep that separate too. And then you'll have your glass and your newspapers and your recyclables, like your cardboard. So so you'll have 4 different ones, and then you have a schedule of when they get picked up. And that's by the government do that, so that's it's a lot easier to be told you need to do that. Whereas here, people are making the choice. And that's one thing that we actually love, is that businesses here are making the choice to do this. They don't have to do it. You can still put food waste in the landfills here. You can't put yard waste, and that's where, when your yard waste gets picked up, it gets taken to the compost facility. But food waste can still go in the landfill. And my question that I like to ask when I'm talking to the kids is, how long does a head of lettuce take to break down in the landfill? Just give me some numbers. What do you think? How long does it take?
A month.
A year? 6 months? 5 years? 20 years?
10 years.
Up to 25 years in a landfill for 1 head of lettuce. And when we start to understand that, like when people start talking about, well, food is biodegradable. Well, yes, it is. But if you take away oxygen, it's just going to rot and it's going to produce methane. And then we're producing methane gases in the landfills. And it takes a while. Like if I call these fancy trash. So these are compostable. It looks like plastic, but they're compostable. But I will take these and they will go to the compost facility. And in a year's time, will look like soil. They'll be compost. They'll be nutrient-rich soil because these are all plant-based. But your plastics that you're putting in, even the balloons that they say are biodegradable, yeah, and even if they do break down, you're still leaving plastic in our environment, and we're still going to end up eating that, and we're going to end up consuming that. So this is where the education comes in, with people aren't aware of what is biodegradable, what is compost, and why it's important. And the other thing, if we start diverting this in the landfill, we're going to get more use out of our landfill, more years, because once the landfill's closed, it's just costing us money instead of making us money, because there's nobody coming in with tipping fees, and then we've got to keep up with looking after the landfills. So if we can take the things out that can be remade into something else that's good for the earth, then we're helping everybody. I'm not saying landfills are bad. I'm not saying, no, go away, because we do need them. You know, we've created plastic and we've created the need for them, so we might as well use them well. Yeah.
So the composted material, what's your, how do you sell that then?
So that's Better Earth Compost. They will then make it and sell it there. So it's put into bags. They're about $6 for a 50-pound bag, and landscapers buy it. They just donated the compost for the Ronald McDonald House. And like down at the riverfront where the green space is, there's a whole bunch of compost in there. So it literally gets put right back into Central Illinois, which is it's really cool to see. So the food that we pick up from Sous Chef comes from all different places. And I know Epic also use the compost to grow in the gardens. There's lots of organizations here, and that's what we would love to see. We'd love to have the cycle staying right here and keeping everything local. Yeah.
So you said that, I guess my question is, who are your customers, who pays for your services? Because on the residential side,
Well, on the residential side, the residents pay for it. So our subscription for a year right now is $150, and that includes all your liners. That will be like your tipping fee for the compost to pay for disposal, and for access to the kiosk. So we're working on getting that cost down, but we paid for the kiosk ourselves. And we do have a couple people interested in buying a kiosk, and that's something that we need to fine tune, is how do we make this cheaper, but keeping it local? Because with both businesses, we have built things in Peoria, and that's where we've kept them. And we use a local guy, we use everything local and keeping it here, which is important to us, but obviously your cost goes up higher. So the residential, they pay for it, and then the businesses, they eat the cost of that. They pay for it themselves.
so I understand the environmental aspect of
Mm-hmm.
it, but asking somebody like a renter or somebody who's on the marginal line to say, hey, I need to pay extra to get the trash I throw out, the food scraps or
Right.
into compost, and that doesn't make sense to me. What do you say to something like that?
It doesn't make sense to pay to do it.
Yeah, like the cost is already $150 if I can't even afford it.
If you break that down, it's $13 a month. So it's not that much. And for businesses, they've seen a cost in their trash. They're able to change their trash agreement and switch that out. For residents right now, because we are not mandated to do it, and we're not saying, hey, you can do this. This is a choice that each individual makes. And for some people, and we're seeing it huge here in Central Illinois, they are making that choice to say, hey, that comes down to a $1.50 a month that I give up in order to divert my food waste. And we're even seeing residents who are starting to, because if you start putting all your food waste in that bucket and your leftovers in that bucket, your brain is seeing dollar signs in there, and you start spending less because you start prepping more, you start buying well, you start buying local and buying well, so you're saving money on the front end, and that's what we want. We want people to save money and see, oh, actually, this doesn't cost me any more. I'm just using my dollars well. So we would hope we're working on bringing down the price, but we are a business. We want to serve the community, but I'd be lying to say if we weren't in it to make money as well, I wouldn't be a business owner. So yes, we would love to do it for free, but we'd be out of business.
Unless the city pays for it, right?
Yes, we are working on that too. We're working, like I said, working with Tazewell and Peoria to try and get that. But it takes time, yeah.
So what are your revenue streams? How do you make money, other than, you've already said, the subscription?
Yeah, so with the residential ones, the customer will pay for that, which covers the liners and the tipping fee. And then for our customers, this is at Green Top Grocery. So we charge them like their trash. So they just like they pay for the trash, they pay us to come and service them. So we provide the containers and the service for them. So we run just like any waste hauler would as a business.
So do you sell compost?
We
material?
don't. We are a different company.
Okay.
So we are the haulers, and my in-laws own it. So we work very closely with them, but it's easier for trucking insurance is very, very high. So keeping the businesses separate and doing it separate. So we don't actually make money from the compost, which is a question that we've had from one person was, why should I give you material to then make compost and go sell it? Well, one, we don't actually sell it. We're just your trash haulers. And two, with Better Earth Compost, when you go there is a fee to pay to dump. Because I wish you could see the video, but all the equipment they have, you've got $500,000 just in one, and that's bought used. You know, it's not a small little, hey, little bin, let's turn it. So again, it's a business, and it takes a year from the time this goes in to the time that it is made into compost, and they make it into rows, and then they turn it, and then they screen it, and they have to get all the junk out, because they joked about saying that with their yard waste, they've had everything but the kitchen sink, and one time somebody put the kitchen sink in, because people don't understand that yard waste is not your dog's toys, it's not everything that's in the yard, it's literally, yeah. See? Again, this is where the education comes in that is needed. So if you need dog toys, you come to the compost and we will find you a dog toy, because there is multiple kitchen sinks and just different things, and even biodegradable bags. So when you go to the grocery store and buy a biodegradable bag, when that goes through the compost process, we can still pull it out as a bag. So even in the right settings, it is not breaking down. It's a pat in the back. I feel good. I've bought a biodegradable bag. No. So we find that there's a lot of need for good education that's simple. I go by the KISS method. Keeping everything simple, and that's how I teach our kindergartens, because we service some schools in Bloomington. So from our kindergarten, like our 4-year-old knows what goes in where in the house and what can be composted, and my 6-year-old will say, oh, be careful, because they'll play at the compost, like, don't fall in, because you can be composted. And it's true, you know, if it grows, it goes. And these are all the educational things that we need to tell people, and we do face the question of, why should I pay? And it comes down to it's a business.
So people, I pay monthly for my trash to be taken away.
Right.
People already have that link in their head. I think it seems like one of your major challenges is the disposal company in the area won't give you a discount for, you know, composting or separating out recyclables or anything. They just basically, it's a flat fee. It doesn't really matter whether you're conscientious or not.
So you're talking about your trash and your yard waste?
Well, what I'm saying is I eliminate so much trash, yard waste, compostable food. I eliminate so much of that per month, okay? I have no incentive to sort it, none whatsoever.
Right.
Because it's all one fee.
Right.
And they don't care
Right.
whether or not you are conscientious and environmental.
Right, and that's what we're
friendly.
working to change.
Okay.
And that's why we are working with Peoria Health Department and Tazwell they have initiatives. So one of them actually wants to buy one of these, and then we're working up, okay, how can we get the subscriptions because you still have to pay for the liners. Like you go out to the shops and you buy your bin liners, you know, we still have to sell those. So you're still gonna have to buy the proper compostable ones. Because if you buy the biodegradable ones, we're gonna contaminate, and that's gonna cost us more problems. So we need to work on a bigger scale of changing people's mindsets and people wanting it. And right now, I said this is somebody's choice to do. We're not making anybody do it. The government isn't making anybody do it here in Central Illinois. So this is a choice. You don't have to do it. But we are hopeful that eventually, it's coming. Eventually, you will be told you can't put food waste in the landfill like they did with the yard waste. So we're just trying to be ahead of it and trying to educate properly so it's done well. Since my in-laws are the only compost facility in the area, we don't want to deal with contamination and people not doing it well, because then once you get the mix wrong, you don't want to mess up the soil that's going back into our earth. So right now, it's your choice. It literally is, I want to do this, and we're finding. And the first week, we sold 20 subscriptions for residents that want to do it. And that tells me that there's a want. And then we've had requests for kiosks to be put in other places. Eureka wants one, Tazewell County want one. Chillicothe wants one. So people want them. We're working on the cost. Yeah.
The, so in Canada, they actually have compost bins.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a single truck that, you know, happens in the city. I guess
Yes.
the question with that too is from a residential side, and especially in the warmer months,
How do we pick up?
there's this overwhelming issue of trash and liquid, food, you know, the waste that's in the liquefies in the bin.
Right, so the smell.
Smell,
Yes.
flies.
So that's where the bags come in. So we have done a lot of tests ourselves to get the right bags that actually work and seal it up. And that's why we give our customers a bucket with a sealed lid. So we talk our customers through, hey, the way it's set up in my house is we have a tiny little bin underneath my sink, and our banana peels, our scraps go in there, it ties off, and in a couple of days, there's also a carbon filter on that bin. It goes out into my bucket, and it's sealed. It's either in my garage or it's outside. We have done a test to, we baited raccoons to our front yard, and we tested to find out what can raccoons get into. Because one of the compostable little caddies that they want you to buy because it's compostable and this is all fancy, the raccoons got in it twice. You know, and this was meant to be the one. So we take pride in saying, hey, we're giving you this because we've tried it and it works, because we know this one doesn't work. Like the buckets with the twisty tops are the best because they can't get in those. So with the smell, that's something that we've worked on, and you can get carbon filters for inside your house, and then the buckets help tying the baggies and keeping it up. And then with a lot of our customers, we are on a weekly or twice weekly pickup, so they don't deal with the smell. Like we pick up Dixon Seafood, and that's fish heads. And if you follow me on Facebook, I like to sing like baby fish instead of baby shark when I get to go and do the pickups and have some fun with it. So we have dealt with fish, a whole 96-gallon, 5 or 6 containers with them. So these are the things that we've run into that we've managed to figure out how to fix them.
Raccoons are compostable.
Yeah, they are. They grow. But they're cute, so I don't want to compost them. Yeah.
Do you plan more kiosks for like Central Peoria or North Peoria?
Yes, we plan on doing a lot more. We're working on, my family in Scotland actually own a sheet metal factory, and we are working on designing a cost-effective way to actually make these. This was our prototype. We had to see that this worked. We had to see this work. We had to see people wanted it. And now we need to figure out how do we do it sustainable and efficient. So we are working on them, and we're hoping to be able to partner. We just sent a quote off to Tazewell County, who want to purchase one to put there.
And will the same key card work for all of them?
That's another thing we're trying to figure out, because it will depend. If other people buy them, we'll have to work with what they feel is appropriate. So if they just want Tazewell County residents using them, then we will have to edit it for that. But we're going to run into, we have a customer in Washington who brings her stuff to the Peoria one because she works here.
Right.
So this is something that we have to work. We would love a tri-county thing that they all work together. But again, this is going back to trying to figure out how to make other people or your tax money pay for it instead of it being another cost out your pocket. Because when you look at things and you think, oh, well, I don't pay for that. Well, your taxes kind of do. You just have to figure out how do we make it fit and how do we make it work.
What are your issues with scaling? I mean, for example, with the liners, are you putting it in stores, or do they have to come to you guys only?
So right now we're looking at a warehouse. We need a warehouse facility because not only are we getting the liners to come in that we give to our customers, and the nice thing is most of our big customers, like our schools and whatnot, we just we deliver it straight to them, so they store it. But we are needing to find a facility because the Vegware is a company that we work with for all compostable products. So cups, straws, lids, plates, anything that you eat food off, we can get compostable. So we need a warehouse space for that. And we find that the price for certain warehouses is very high. And right now it's my husband and I. We have a full-time driver and a part-time driver, but we're still trying to grow. So we need a warehouse. And yeah, we're hopefully in the spring we're going to get an office manager. So office space and whatnot. So it's finding the right location. And that's really hard here, is to find the right price and the right location. Yeah.
Question about the incentive that you said
Mhm.
the city does with.
Yes.
Can you just explain what that incentive is?
So they don't work together. So Peoria and Tazewell are different. So we've done events with both of them. So like the Turkey Tremont Festival, we composted 1,600 turkey carcasses. The last twice now we've done that for them. So each year. So the first year that was us at the Turkey Tremont Festival, and we gave them this truck. And the initiative, the Tazewell County Sustainability, covered that cost for doing the events. The next year we actually left them our truck because it was over the weekend, and had one of the guys just use it, and we were able to eliminate smells, we were able to eliminate grease stripping, and everybody said this was amazing. And if you can change how Tremont Turkey Festival works, you can change anybody because they have been doing things for years and they do it well. And for us to come in and to be actually on year 2, have them say, you solved problems we didn't know we had. That's what we want to do. So with Peoria and Tazewell, they do events. So Washington, a Good Neighbor Days, and with different events, they will cover, the incentives cover some of those. With Tazewell, they paid half of the bill for the customers that signed up as their pilot program. Okay. So that's how with Paradise, with the hotel, they were able to keep their bill the same by the time the money had ran out, they were still paying what they had paid because they'd reduced their waste so much. With Peoria, they purchased the containers. So they take the cost away of, because they run about $60 to buy a 96 or gallon bin. So they purchase those and they give them to their customers in order for them to compost with us. So we're trying to figure out, we'd love them to work together, but we got to take what we got.
So, with you saying that they reduced their waste in half by the time their incentive was up, do you charge them like per how many containers, or do businesses pay a flat rate like residential people do, or?
Right, so businesses work, every time we show up, it's $22 for a service. So the $22 will cover one bin, and that covers your tipping fee, and some of them have liners in there and some of them don't, because we clean out all the bins in the summertime as well. So the $22 is for us to show up and service, and then it's around about $8 for every bin that we pick up. So obviously our goal for our customers is to reduce how many bins we're picking up, because then that pays for our tipping fee at the compost. I spoke to my father-in-law, and he said that if he were to charge just for him to have to stop and get off equipment, or for one of his guys to get off equipment and pick up a 5-gallon bucket, he's like, I'd have to charge them $20 just for a 5-gallon bucket, because it's not worth my time. It's not safe, because it's a working facility with trucks, and you've got PDC trucks coming in and out all day dumping things. You've got landscapers coming out, so it's not set up for this. So this kiosk solves a problem for them, because they get calls all the time. Can I bring my stuff out to you? And you can now bring out, now that the trucks have all stopped because the yard waste is all done, you can bring out, if you've missed it, you can bring out your yard waste to them, and you pay them to dump it if you still have, because I know some of the leaves haven't fallen. So this kiosk fixes that as a safety issue for them, and they're just not set up to do it.
Right.
So
what do you think that you will try to go to that for residential, like at some point? Because if your goal is for people
pickup
to reduce it,
yes,
then they're still like, oh well, I'm paying $150 for the entire year regardless if I reduce.
So for yard waste, it's $200 that they pay just for yard waste pickup. Yeah.
Right, but I'm saying like, if
you start
watching
separating,
my
yes,
waste and it goes down quite a bit,
you're
but
still
in
having
my-
to pay for your trash.
right? But
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm like, I'm still paying the fee anyways, the flat fee as a residential. Do you see what I'm saying?
So we would love to have a truck, a split truck that we can pick up the yard waste and the food waste at the same time. We're not there yet though. And PDC do such a good job of that, we're not stepping on their toes. They do yard waste really well, and we do the food waste. Ideally, a truck that does both, because in order to make the compost, you need to keep the yard waste and the food waste separate for the ingredients to mix it and to make the compost well. So we have looked into split load trucks that we would be able to pick one up each, but we have to start with education first. And we will not do that. Like, I see my neighbor recycling, like his recycling stuff fell over, and he has all his recyclable stuff in bags that are tied. Right, you know, but not everybody knows. And on their sticker, it says what to do and what not to do. So there is a need for education before we can successfully execute having it picked up. We do have, I think, 4 now customers who have said, I want you to come to my house and pick it up. I will pay like I am a business, and you will come to my house and pick it up. And we use a small truck for that because it's more efficient, and we only agree to it if they're on our route. Because I said I'm not going all the way out to the boonies and using gas and wasting resources to pick up one family's waste. So we're trying to look at ways that we can do it well. So we can pick it up residentially, but again, it comes back to right now in Central Illinois, people are making the choice that this is something they feel strongly about, and they'll pay for it.
Well, I think you're doing a great job, and I don't think $13 a month is expensive. I think.
But you know, 150 though is 150 a chunk. Paying that is a lot. So we are trying to see if we can do a pay-as-you-go, do a monthly thing. We have a 3-month option too, which is $47, and then you can renew it as you go. But for a lot of people, like, it is hard to just say, oh, here's $150 and to start up. So we would love to be able to do a monthly thing, but then you come into, if you're getting charged monthly with a credit card, you've got extra fees. So then it costs the customer more. And these are things that we're working along with Sous Chef, because you can go and buy a bucket of Sous Chef and pick it up, or if you buy it online, I deliver it to you. So we're working to try and get a good partnership where people can do it monthly, and it's not so much of a, so if you think $13 a month in your head, psychologically, you go, oh, that's not too bad. 150, you go, you know, that's Christmas gift for my kids. So we're trying to figure out ways to keep the cost down and to make it affordable for everybody. Yeah.
You think it's going to be possible for you to merge with the city and to be able to do both, like the yard waste and the...
I think anything's possible. So it's not a case of if, it's a case of when.
What about the 2 counties, like Peoria County and Tazewell?
We're working on that. we're my husband's a nice one, so he's working super nice. I'm too British. It needs to be done. I don't see a problem. So that's why I married a nice American boy.
Let's talk about barriers in terms of the education component, okay?
Yeah.
In places like Japan or anywhere else, they have this whole darn long list of all the different things that you can and can't put in there, and it is absolutely confusing.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing to...
We're keeping it simple, stupid. The KISS method. That's what we're doing. And we're using phrases like, if it grows, it goes. So if you start thinking like, oh, like your hair, if you trim your hair, that's compostable. You trim your nails, no nail polish, that's compostable. So understanding easy ways, and I wish that video would work of just how we did it with Raphael, but watch it online. And keeping it super simple, like yes and no. And that's why with some of our customers, like Pekin Insurance are incredible. They started with us a few months ago, and now they actually source compostable materials as well. So anything that touches food is compostable. And they have almost zero contamination. And that's with a large business at Pekin Insurance, like who would have thought? So keeping it simple, so making it easy, instead of saying, oh yeah, well, this is compostable, but hold on, if this was plastic, this lid is probably gonna get kicked off, it's not gonna be recycled, and you've got food in there, so it's not cleaned out. So really, this is the only compostable thing. This whole thing, including the food inside it, can go in the one bin. So we're trying to keep it simple, and with working with Raphael, he's so good at pulling out well, what do I need to know? Because the first take we did with our kiosk thing, I was blubber blabbering on, and I was like, yeah, James made it, and it was made here, and this, that, and the next thing, and I was like, and the squirrel's climbing up the tree, and he was like, wait, you're enthusiastic, but I don't care about that squirrel up the tree, and I'm like, yeah, you're right, I just word vomit. So the second take, we nailed it, because he has a gift to pull out, okay, what do I need to know? And that's what we need. So we service 5 or 6 Caterpillar facilities, and we have super smart engineers who are incredible, who take their compostable waste, put it in a Ziploc baggie, tie it up and put it in the compost bin. Even though they have been told, you know. So not everybody, if you tell them something, some people have to see it written. So we need to work on material to put it out there for everybody to understand. And that's why we even worked on the subtitles with the kiosk, because when Facebook do subtitles for me, my name's Diane instead of saying down, and they've got all sorts, I'm shooting chef instead of sous chef. So we're working on, yeah, that was a bad one. I was glad we caught that. And Chef Steve was another one that came up. I don't know who Chef Steve is, but you know, he was in my video apparently. So working on having it accessible to everybody, because with both our businesses that we have, accessibility is a huge thing. So with this kiosk, the next thing we want to do is a bit tall, but that's the size of the bin. And we thought, well, we have friends that only have one arm. Well, how are they going to access a kiosk? Well, this they can tap it with a card and it opens up themselves. We first had a handle that we're going to pull up. Well, we're in the Midwest as well. If it gets too hot, that's going to be burny, and if it gets too cold, it's going to be freezing. You don't want to touch it. So not only is the weather a factor, but abilities. We want it to be accessible for everybody. But right now, this is too tall, and we're trying to figure out a way that, do we add a step? What do we add? And how is that going to be accessible to everybody? So we need to get education out there of making it simple, and who, because I don't want people confused. Like your McDonald's cup right now, if you rinse that out, you can recycle the cup, but the lid and the straw will not be recycled. Okay. Not to shame you. No. I'm drinking out of a plastic bottle here, but I need water. You know, I'll take it home and recycle it. Yeah. So with videos, I think that's one way that we can do it, and keeping it short. There's a lot of people here that really, really care. And that was, I would get so excited. Michael would come down the riverfront and I'd be like jumping around, I'd be dancing, and I would meet people that would come up and would be so excited about this, who wanted it in the community. So we have people here that want it. We just need to get the right people working together to keep the cost down. Because everything in business, everything in the world comes down to money and convenience. So we're trying to fix the convenience factor, and now we're working on the financial of keeping it cost, but still being able to put food on the table for my kids, because I'm a business owner. Yeah.
What does your company look like in 5 years?
Gosh, 5 years. 5 years, we would like to be settled in our own office and warehouse space. And if we go back to where we're servicing here, so we're out into Galesburg. We've actually done events down in Decatur as well. I want to see more businesses right here, right where we live, joining up. So I said we're around about 60 for commercial. I would like to, by next year, double that. So in 5 years, who knows, sky's the limit. I would like to be able to grow it. So expand with businesses and have a good working partnership with the sustainability. Because everybody, whether it's Tazewell Peoria sustainability programs, every business has some kind of sustainability office now. And whether that's to give them a pat in the back to make them feel good, or whether they're actually doing something good, we want it to be the second half. We want everybody to be doing something good, because the more we work together, the bigger impact that we can make. Because somebody said to me, well, I'm just one family. We have like one 5-gallon bucket. What good does that do? And I said, yeah, but right now, you and 20 other people have 5-gallon buckets, and you're dropping them off once a week. That quickly adds up. And if we can keep growing, so we would love to have multiple kiosks in different places. So growing the kiosks for the residential, because some people do the buckets and they'll go on bikes and pick it up and try and do it that way. But to scale a business and to grow that, you're not going to do that, because you need volunteers to ride the bikes and pick it up. And here we don't have the weather to do that either. So we want to grow the residential and to, like I said, cut the cost down. So in 5 years, I would love it to be affordable for everybody. Whether that's free, I don't know. As a business owner, I don't like free, because then people aren't as dedicated to doing it well. So even if it's $5, I want it to be $5, because then that person knows, hey, I'm doing this and I'm paying for it, so I'm going to do it well. So in 5 years, I want the cost to be low. I want more kiosks, and I'd love to see a couple more trucks, because we're having to service more businesses, and schools. Schools is a big one in our plan, and we forgot that. We currently have, I don't know how many schools, but we service in Bloomington Normal, and then we have colleges. So we have Eureka College, Bradley University, and ISU is a huge one. They divert a ton. And we would love to start with the kindergartens, and if we educate the kindergartners, we can educate the grannies that the kindergartens live in. I've seen it happen. I've had a young kid come to me at Clean Water Celebration, and he runs up to my booth, and I'm like, hi. And he's like, so we do this at our school, and I tried to teach my granny about it, but she just didn't understand. And I'm like, that's okay, because we're here to help you. You know, and he's trying to teach his granny. He lives with his gran, and he wants his gran to understand this because he's doing it at school. The kindergartners are lined up, and they have their compostable, they have the recyclable, and they have the trash, and they have the trays. If a 4-year-old can do it, why can't a 34-year-old do it? So we would love to be in all the schools in Central Illinois, and that's something we're working with the counties. We're actually hopeful to, by the beginning of the year, to get into Keller Primary. We're working with them to start in Peoria. And to see, because once one does it, then they'll all want to do it. And once we can prove to them that we can show them that it works in Bloomington, but that's Bloomington. We need to show them it works in Peoria and that it works here. So we would love to see all the schools, definitely by 5 years, to be composting. We good? Yeah.
If there aren't any other questions, one thing that we like to ask all of our presenters at the very end is if there's one thing that we as a community can do to help you, what would it be?
Help me.
Whether it's, sharing on social media or talking about your business or
Maybe warehouse space.
Yeah, if you know of a good spot, that would be helpful, because we're trying to find a good location that makes sense. So we need a climate controlled space. So if anybody has any ideas of that that we would be able to use in the new year, that would be awesome. So warehouse space, and just kind of telling people, hey, that this is what's going on. This is what can happen in your business, in your school, and it is happening. And that's a cool thing, because I get a lot of people, like I have friends all over the world, and they'll say, I can't believe this. I can't believe you're doing this, because I can't believe this is not happening here. Like, why are we so behind right here? Like, I've made Peoria my home. I have home. I stay in my homes in Scotland. I stay in my homes in Canada. My home's where my family is, and I make family wherever I go. But wherever I live, I'm invested. And I'm sad that we don't have this as a norm here. Like, I want composting to be the norm, not the exception. And it's the exception right now. It's cool. It's a buzzword. But if you go to even East Coast, West Coast, they're doing it as normal. And why are we not doing it? Why are we not making compost out of stuff that we're already using? So yeah, just telling people and helping us be an ear. We like to, it's just my husband and I, so we like to have other people who have been there to talk things through and be like, are we being stupid? Because most of the time we are. But yeah, so that would be great. Yeah.